During E3 2016, EA released a video about Star Wars video games and what they were planning to do with them. And after I saw this video, my mind was going crazy with speculation. The video teased all these projects that studios like Visceral and Respawn were developing, but it contained little to no information about what these projects actually were going to turn out to be. And sadly, after I've waited a very long time to get a more in-depth look at these projects, EA cannibalized Visceral and Star Wars Battlefront 2 released with a slew of controversial content. So when I look back at this video, I just see a bunch of broken promises.
So what we're really trying to do at EA is cater to different areas of the Star Wars universe and create different game experiences that are tailor-made for those fans.
Wait till you see the... No.
We have completely different games on the horizon, and I just hope that every fan walks away going, wow, I never thought they were going to bring my Star Wars fantasy to life.
Look at the top.
As well as legitimately crushed dreams.
Our goal has always been not to just sort of make a game that is set in the Star Wars universe, but to really tell an authentic Star Wars story.
EA has some really exciting plans in the works for the Star Wars portfolio, and what we're doing is bringing in talent from across the industry and letting them loose.
Thank God for my
Star Wars games.
This shit good. I'm just, every time
EA.
I have some good,
Star Wars games.
and when I come back that afternoon, he don't never have none. I want to know what kind of motherfucking deal he been getting. He need to get more of this shit.
I know that game development isn't easy, but come on EA, it's Star Wars. There are so many possibilities for games in this universe. I mean, sci-fi franchises have the most potential out of any fiction you can think of. There's literally a galaxy of stories and experiences that you can provide to the consumer. Or hell, even expand it to other galaxies if need be. Actually, you already tried that and failed. Maybe keep the Star Wars games into one galaxy. My point is, potential Star Wars games pretty much think of themselves. You don't need an all-star team of game designers to think of a Star Wars game design. Even though you kinda already had one over at Visceral a couple years ago. All you need to do is think of an already established genre or game design and slap Star Wars on it. So for the rest of this video, I'm going to share with you guys a handful of Star Wars ideas I thought about in my head, probably for around maybe 10 minutes before I came up with all of them. So here you go, this is Gunner's ideas for Star Wars games that probably will never happen, but that's not going to stop me from hoping. Please enjoy. So I really enjoy this game, For Honor, published by Ubisoft. I think it's a good fighting game, based on fighting with melee weapons. I don't really like traditional 2D fighting games. I think the fact that For Honor is in a 3D space adds a lot more depth to it and also more accessibility. But why I like For Honor over traditional 2D fighting games is not the point. The point I'm trying to make is that while I was playing For Honor, I thought this would be great if it was in the Star Wars universe. There have been Star Wars dueling games in the past, like I think it was Force Unleashed on the Wii only, that you could have a dueling mode where you can one-on-one one of your friends. The Revenge of the Sith tie-in game also had a mode like this, but these games never played out like actual Star Wars battles that we see in the films. For Honor's mechanics lets you and your opponent attack from multiple directions. It isn't like the previous games that I mentioned where you're either just attacking or you're blocking. All the characters in For Honor have unique abilities and combos, and I think it would be really cool if you were playing like, say, Count Dooku and you were swinging your lightsaber at someone, you land a combo and you finish it with zapping your opponent with some lightning. You wouldn't even have to restrict the characters to Jedi and Sith. You could go with a Magna Guard, Trader Trooper, Pre Vizsla with a Darksaber. I would love to recreate that Clone Wars scene where Pre Vizsla fights Maul to the death. Please Ubisoft, contact Disney and get the For Honor team on this right now. Just like probably most of the ideas I have on this list, it won't happen, most likely, but it's fun to throw ideas out there, and that's what this video is all about. So, my second idea for a Star Wars game would be one where you explore Coruscant. Probably an open world game. It would work great with some parkour mechanics, maybe a jetpack or a grappling hook here and there. Obviously you're going to want to be shooting people. Maybe your character's a gunslinger like Han Solo, a smuggler, or a bounty hunter. You know, EA DICE just released Mirror's Edge Catalyst not too long ago, and this kind of game seems like the perfect job for that team. Maybe hire some of the developers that were working on Star Wars 1313, at least talk to them maybe. Ask the Battlefront team for some advice on blaster mechanics. They might need to hire some better writers to really nail the narrative aspect of the game, but every other aspect of this potential game design, EA DICE has all the talent they need. My next Star Wars game idea would have to be a game based on capital ship combat. A perfect example of a game like this would have to be Dreadnought, a game where large capital ships, dreadnoughts, corvettes, cruisers all duke it out with any kind of weapons you can think of that people would put on a large starship. You can divert more energy to different parts of the ship, like the weapons, the engines, or the shields. All of the mechanics that this game brings to the table works in the Star Wars universe. And obviously there's no shortage of Star Wars ships that you can include into this game. You got so many different types of Star Destroyers, Imperial 1s, Imperial 2s, Interdictors, Venators, Gladiators, Mon Calamari ships, like your MC-80s, MC-40, MC-30C, and don't forget the MC Ride.
Oh! 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 Yeah!
Excuse me, I read that wrong. That would be the MC-80A. How about some Nebulon B frigates, some assault frigates, blockade runners, Providence class destroyers, Malevolence, goddamn Lucrehulks, and of course, all the amazing Super Star Destroyers. Fans love the designs of these iconic Star Wars starships, and would just love to take control of one in a Star Wars space battle. Another little example I would like to throw in about a game like this would be Assassin's Creed's pirate ship gameplay. A lot of people, including me, think that's an aspect of Assassin's Creed that the developers did very well since Assassin's Creed Black Flag. And once Ubisoft releases Skull and Bones, I think the players of that game would also enjoy a Star Wars game with similar mechanics. So not only would this game be amazing if done right, but there's already a demographic to shoot for. I would love to see any kind of Star Wars strategy game. I don't care if it's a real-time strategy, a turn-based strategy, one of those 4X games like Civilization. I've enjoyed playing Star Wars Empire at War ever since it came out, even when I was younger and I had to set the difficulty to easy because I was a dumb little kid and I didn't know how to strategize. But I still had fun because it showcased intense Star Wars action, pretty well done real-time gameplay, and a great Galactic Conquest mode. Insanely better than the Conquest modes in the original Battlefront games. Probably the only turn-based game that I've ever enjoyed in my life would have to be XCOM. Everything about XCOM 2, from the punishing yet fair combat to the base building and character creation elements, are just so addictive. And when I learned that there was tons of great high-quality Star Wars mods for XCOM 2 on Steam, I just couldn't resist. It was so fun to play XCOM 2 skinned to look like Star Wars that I thought, how hard could it be to make a fully fledged turn-based Star Wars strategy game? All I do know is that it'll probably sell very well. I could come up with so many more ideas for good Star Wars games, but for the sake of this video not sound like me rambling, this is my last proposal for a new Star Wars game. And of course, it would have to be a proper single-player RPG. Literally nobody would mind the release of a new Knights of the Old Republic game, but ever since the releases of KOTOR 1 and 2, we've seen many new and unique, beloved RPGs. The Fallout series, up until its latest release, Skyrim, the Witcher series, the Souls games, Borderlands, and of course BioWare's other intellectual properties, Mass Effect and Dragon Age. There's just so much material out there these days for a studio to draw from to create a great Star Wars RPG. There's not much else I can say about it. We're just long overdue for a great single-player Star Wars role-playing game. Well, there you have it, everybody. Thanks for watching. I hope that you laughed. I hope that you enjoyed my ideas for Star Wars video games. And I sure hope that we're all enjoying ourselves a fun, interesting new Star Wars game in the near future. My name is Gunnar, and I want you to go play a Star Wars game. I'm gonna go play Republic Commando for the 10 billionth time. This is what that sounds like.
Breach that door.
Yes, sir. Keep your distance, just in case.
It's live. Get some distance.
I hate these things.
Delta Squad down. Your behavior frightens and confuses me, sir. You're losing it, sir.
You should have known better.